For our 6th episode, we're going to be harkening back to our roots by tackling another campaign centered around a real place, Daybreak. The Savannah Four are our survivors for today, and they've shipped off to sunny San Francisco, California, which has, of course, been overrun by the infected. With the chopper they were riding in having crash landed on the roof of a hotel, they'll have to make their way through some of the city's most iconic landmarks to get to safety, and fight through an army of infected along the way. But is that journey worth the time? Let's dive in and find out. Now, as a campaign set in a real place like San Francisco, Daybreak has a strong identity going for it by default. Though the bulk of the campaign is spent traversing the desolate city streets, the segments traversing the city's most iconic landmarks are the real standouts of this adventure. The Golden Gate Bridge is visible through every chapter of the campaign, a reminder of your goal. A looming monolith that acts in the same way as the Veterans Memorial Bridge in the parish as a landmark to focus on. The journey to get there, though, isn't the most outstanding, though. While the layout of the city is very strong, more on that later, the environment that makes it up feels a little off in some places. Some areas have lots of detail, some of them don't. Some of them didn't think things through. Like, how are people supposed to move through these trailers in the quarantine line on the bridge? You've probably noticed by now that there's an abundance of custom car models present throughout the campaign. Now, they look great, and who doesn't love getting a Dodge Charger thrown at them by a tank? But they stick out like a sore thumb around the other vehicle models from the base game. If they had more weathering or had a bit more shady colors, I think I could ignore them, but they still look out of place. That combined with the lacking city design makes the campaign feel a bit too out of place as a Left 4 Dead campaign, and knocks Daybreak's identity down a peg. Though what good is a campaign without a decent challenge? In that regard, Daybreak offers players a fight that puts their strategic capability to the test. The core of the campaign revolves around careful thought, and punishes players for mindlessly rushing ahead without a second thought, like a good campaign should. This is most evident in the finale at Alcatraz, where in order to escape, the survivors must refuel a helicopter with gas cans strewn about the cell block. Now, scavenge finales are nothing uncommon for custom campaigns, except unlike most other finales of this nature, Daybreak has a twist. Some of the cans are locked behind the cell doors, and to get to them, the player must open the cell blocks. However, some of the cells are quarantined, and contain special infected inside of them. The player must choose which cell blocks to open wisely and carefully, since some of them could be housing a witch, or even a tank. Opening all the doors willy-nilly is a recipe for disaster, and can result in the quick demise of the player and their group if they aren't careful. The best campaigns in this game are the ones that emphasize teamwork and coordination, and Daybreak excels in this regard. As for the layout of the map, it's okay. There are a handful of moments where it branches off and twists and turns around, mainly in the city, but other than that, the campaign is fairly linear, and it's always clear where to go. There's not much else to write about other than that. The layout is just okay. Enough said. In summary, Daybreak is a pretty solid campaign that's well designed, fun to play, and stands out from the crowd with a unique setting that still manages to retain the feel of a Left 4 Dead campaign. For the most part, anyway. The campaign mainly falters in the visual department, making use of custom assets that don't blend very well with the environment, nor does it put much thought where those assets are placed at times. Seriously, what's the point of putting all these Humvees and an APC on Alcatraz Island where they aren't needed? I've been to Alcatraz. It's tiny. You don't need to... With a 6 for identity, an 8 for challenge, and a 7 for layout, I give this campaign a 21 out of 30. Until next time, I'm the good Mudkip, and stay legendary.